Here's what's coming up this hour on today's experience. We're going to first look at High Karate. Yeah, that's right. Plus, so much more for the Lord. That's the idea. And is it okay if we have a Snapchat of Jesus? Welcome to the David Spoon Experience, local, national, and heavenly talk. Here's what else we're looking at during the show. Lessons for surviving, living, and prevailing. That's a good idea. Politics, entertainment, and current events. Personal revelations. Wait till you hear my high karate story. Spiritual observations, my life's insanities. And oy vey, so much more. Hey, we're asking you, what do you think? You can give us a call at 972-445-0770, 972-445-0770. Remember, any topic, yeah, I can do that. Remember, any topic is open for conversation because it's not professional radio, which I just proved. It's just radio. It's a cross between Steve Martin, Sean Hannity, and Focus on the Family, the David Spoon Experience. So buckle up, little campers. Here we go. All righty. Before we get into our say thank you to our sponsors, which we're going to do, I do want to respond to the lead up that came into our show. If you heard on the lead up the last couple of seconds before we actually started the show, they were talking about what the Muslim group said you can or cannot say, what's offensive, what's not offensive. I went through this before with the Jewish Defense League, saying what is offensive and what is not offensive and what you can say and what you cannot say. So I've decided I would just come up with a couple of words real quickly that will help you understand where I'm coming from. I think if we're going to go to that route where you can't say certain things, tofu has got to be thrown out of the dictionary. Just, that's it. Out. Get it out. Tofu. That's exactly my point. I had one person come to my house one time in 20 years and put a tofu hot dog on my barbecue grill, ruined my grill. I will never let tofu touch my grill again. That's how that goes. Also, toxic masculinity. That's out because if you don't have any masculinity in the first place, you don't have to worry about it being toxic. So I think that's just redundant in and of itself. And then anything that any Muslim group says, or any group says that's offensive that you can't say, that's exactly what you ought to say. You think, that is so mean. No. You should come to my house and hear me when nobody's around and I'm talking to the television. Now that's mean. Other than that, I'm not that bad. On the air, I'm okay. I'm kind of a nice guy. A couple things. We're going to do our normal shout-outs, but I do want to do a personal first-time shout-out, if that is okay. I had an opportunity today to meet with Wade Chessman, and Wade is the president, would be the way to say it, of Chessman Wealth Strategies. I'm not sure what we're going to do, if we're going to do anything in the future, but I told him I'd say hi. We had a very nice meeting. He's thinking about coming on board as one of our strategic partners. If he does, then we'll have him come in and meet with us here in the studio. Why? Because that's the place you really get to know people. And I think it'll be a real good fit if that's what the Lord has in mind. So a big shout out to Wade. Ready? Here's how we do it. Ready? Hey, Wade, here's your shout out. Okay. That's how you do it. Well, that's how you do it. Okay. And for anybody, there's no wrong in throwing something in his direction regardless. So I'm just saying, if you want to get more information, Chessman Wealth Strategies is the place you want to be. Although I will tell you, I went to his office today, and I went to the wrong floor. I don't know, man. I don't try to do stuff like that. So I go to the floor, and you go to his office. Is just a pretty nice office, and you go to the office. But the first one I went to, it was like empty. There's 20 offices or 15 offices, all blank. I'm like thinking, wow, That was fast. And then I called him. He's like, okay, we're on the 10th floor, Dave. Like, oh, so got that taken care of. All right, let's get into our two big shout outs for our actual sponsors right now. The first one is our gal, Pamela Melchione. Now, why does that matter? That's because I thought originally Pamela Melchione was Hawaiian. Well, listen, her name is spelled Melchionna. I mean, if it's not Italian, it's got a little Greek, like a koinonia kind of Greek kind of thing. But the bottom line is that's the incorrect. She's Italian. So you say it, Pamela Melchione. Pamela Melchione. Her, let's see, her website. I was going to say her real estate website, but that would be redundant. Her website, theblessedrealtycompany.com. Theblessedrealtycompany.com. Oh, you'll remember. You'll remember. Theblessedrealtycompany.com. 817-505-5541. 817-505. See, there's a lot of fives. 5541. So you're driving, you're like, well, how am I supposed to remember 817-505-5541? I think you should remember theblessedrealtycompany.com. That's the way to do that. So Pamela is not your average real estate agent, because your average real estate agent, I mean, I have a relative who's a real estate agent. She's super duper fantastic, only works on referral. That's what Pamela does. Same style, which means they're both on that upper tier, upper class type person. But what Pamela wanted to do was sponsor and be a part of the ministry. And so we're connected. And so we just ask you guys to reach out to her. If you have a cousin, it is the only person you know who's a realtor. You probably want to talk to somebody who really knows the business, and so that you can relax and not freak out about it. And Pamela's the person you want to talk to. Besides all that, she loves the Lord. I love doing business with people who love the Lord. And you think, well, that's just wrong. No, it's not wrong. Do good to all men, especially them of the household of faith. So that's not wrong. Alongside of her, because she has the Blessed Realty Company, is her future husband, who has the Blessed Roofing Company, and that's John. God, you have to like that. You have to. You got to like that. There's no question. His URL is theblessedroofingcompany.com. So you got Pamela, theblessedrealtycompany.com. I mean, is this a duo or what? And now we got theblessedroofingcompany.com. His phone number is 469-BLESSED. 469-BLESSED. I don't know if we're going to hear it. Are we going to hear that second commercial today? I think we got a new commercial. It might say commercial 2. Might not be in there yet. If not, it'll be in there tomorrow. So we sent off, we have the second commercial all done. The big thing to remember is in regards to hail and in regards to your home, if you have a house that is sat under hail, you probably have hail damage. It can get repaired or replaced, nothing out of pocket. Ooh, you know what that means? Ooh, good price. Good price. All right. 469-BLESSED. 469-BLESSED, the Blessed Roofing Company. All right? Okay. So we had 3 big shout outs today. That's fun. Now, what will happen in the future is that we will kind of spread them out and so on and so forth, but the show's new. So we're figuring out all of the different elements. This is the part I'm looking forward to telling you. Because I mentioned yesterday, and I actually mentioned this to Wade when I met with him. Okay? I got a mower. I got a push mower. A lot of you are thinking, oh my goodness, he's going to complain about mowing. All right, let's first understand this. Besides being a busboy at 15 years old, my first self-company was a landscaping company. And by the grace of God, we landed Bob Maloof Properties in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was cutting 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. So I've done plenty of cutting. But it is also true that I have not done that for years and years and years. When my wife and I were in, before we were in the La Jolla area, we were in a smaller place called Valley Center, and each property there is 2.5 acres. And we had a pretty big pad, and I had to cut the pad by hand. The other thing I had a riding mower for. So anyway, I got this mower, and we're renting a place, and I don't realize what I'm about to get into, and so I'll tell you right now, it sits on a half an acre, so it's big, right? And I've got a push mower. See, I think I have figured out where to save $20 from the gym. I think I have learned this. Anyway, that's not even the story. Let me tell you the story, because it's so big. I cut the first third yesterday. And that's the front of the house. And the back 2/3 I'll do today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever that is. But it looks really good. All right? That's cool. Anyhow, so I'm cleaning it all up, and I've got the little electric weed eater and the little blower. They're working. It works great. Everything's working great. And I have a stick. Now, this stick was there when we moved into the house, and it was a stick that went with a broken rake. And I don't know why my wife and I have kept it in the garage for like 17 months. But I thought, this is ridiculous. I got to get rid of this stick. So I looked at the stick, and I thought, I can high karate this because it wouldn't fit in the trash can. Right? A little too long. You put it in the trash can, even on an angle, the trash can's sitting up about 4 inches, and it was windy yesterday. So if I did that, you catch the wind, and so I thought, nah, I can high karate this. I'm strong enough. And then I thought, this is the kind of thing where pride really gets in the way. I got to be careful. So I did what any other guy would do. I took my 2 trash cans. I put the stick in between the 2 trash cans. I took a saw, and I cut the saw I used the saw and cut the stick halfway through. So now I'm going to high karate this bad boy and feel good about it. Yeah, no pride here, right? How long do I got? Like a minute? 2 minutes? Perfect. 2 minutes. Watch this. So I cut it perfectly in half. I get my arm, my forearm, my elbow, and I go, hi-ya! And I high karate that bad boy. One part of the 2-part sticks, okay, which is kind of like a broom handle, hits the top of the trash can where it was sitting, kind of bounced on it, came up, and hit me right in the forehead. Bam! I was really feeling pride right up until it hit me in the head. And then I realized, 1, I couldn't have done it without the saw. And 2, even with the saw, apparently I couldn't have done it because the stick hit me back. I don't think that was very nice of it. And I will say it did end up in the trash, and it went bye-bye. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a short break and come back. That's my life. You're listening to the David Spoon Experience right here on KAAM 770, the Christian station here in Texas. Short break. We'll be back.
Be the first person in your neighborhood to win. What is it? It's a contest. How do I play? It's simple. And there's 3 ways to win. You can go to Facebook, type in David Spoon Media. And on any Facebook post, type in the word Jesus in the comment section. And it's free. You can also send an email to davidspoonmedia@gmail.com and write the word Jesus in the subject line. Or you can go to YouTube and give a comment on any video. But you have to use the word Jesus. This is your chance to win, and it's free.
What do I win?
You can win 100 thank yous right on air. It's incredible. It's unbelievable, but it's only for a limited time. Enter now. Here's a taste. Thank you for listening to the David Spoon Experience.
A big portion of being guided is asking, prayer, when you're praying with people, fellowship amongst other people can lead you to guidance. It's happened on more than one occasion for me. Counsel is obviously very good, both spiritual and not necessarily biblical. Also, practical counsel is good. Circumstances often speak to us and give us guidance. Open doors, or, for that fact, closed doors. We know his word gives us guidance We know in 2 Corinthians 2:13 and 14, Paul said that he used peace of mind as an aspect of guidance. These are all the Holy Spirit leading and guiding us is, of course, the number one element for guidance is to be led by the Spirit, right? These are all hugely important.
The David Spoon Experience, weekdays at 2 on God Country, Texas, 770 KAAM.
The Christian faith is being attacked. 50 years ago, people would disagree with Christianity, but with a sense of respect. Those days are over. The rage, the flesh, the enemy, and the atmosphere of sin is growing and growing. Jesus said in Matthew 24, the love of many will grow cold. And if it's not the end now, it's certainly a lot closer than it was yesterday. You may be from a Baptist background. David Spoon has that. You may have a Pentecostal background. He has that too. You may have a non-denominational background. Yep, he's got that as well. You may be from the Church of Christ, Presbyterian, Methodist, Church of God, or some other denomination. But if you're looking for a show that's Bible-based, Spirit-led, and a bit nutty, give David a listen for a while. If you like it, great. If not, no worries. The David Spoon Experience.
Welcome back to the David Spoon Experience. Thank you for joining us here at KAAM 770, the Christian station here in Texas. That's right. You want to reach the show, 972-445-0770. Got a trivia question coming up. It's going to be a little outside the Bible realm, but I believe that people will understand where I'm heading with this, especially in lieu of all the politics. And we've said this before, and I'll say it again, poly being many, ticks being blood-sucking insects. I think everybody knows what's going on. If you want to reach the studio for a praise report or for prayer, we pray right on the air. We don't care. I mean, why not? 972-445-0770, 972-445-0770. In the next segment, going to be talking about this a snapshot of Jesus, but I've got to check with Wonder Julie because I'm not like socially apt in understanding things. I don't know. Snapchat, is that like a picture thingy? You take a picture? I don't know. Okay, cool. Well, the both of us don't know, and that's because we were both probably born before 1997. That's what I'm going to go with. You're questionable. Me? Nah, I don't think there's a lot of questions. All right. Want to reach the show, davidspoonmedia@gmail.com is a great way to do it. Facebook, David Spoon Media. Also, if you go to David Spoon Media on YouTube, you get some information. And then davidspoon.com is the website. It is working. For some reason this morning it wasn't working. Now it's working. And then it doesn't work. Also, thejewishchristian.com also goes there. Also, Spoon Business goes there. I got like 9 different things trailing off there. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. We'll let you know that James Robinson is going to be on the show 2 weeks from yesterday. All that confirmed after the show. So we are good to go there. We have a special guest coming in studio tomorrow, Johnny. Now, Johnny's company, Movers with God, he has a moving company, but that's not why he's coming in. So we're not doing. He'll get a chance to promo that and just talk about that if he wants to. He's really believing that the Lord is calling him to move into ministry, and we're going to give him that platform and opportunity. One of the things I think is superbly important for people is to understand that when somebody, doesn't matter where they're at, when somebody is feeling the pull of the Holy Spirit to get more involved in ministry, you and we want to encourage that. Do you remember one of the things that Jesus said, superbly important, that gets greatly underplayed, and that is, pray to the Lord of the harvest that he might send workers into the harvest. We ought to be a people that are continually praying to the Lord, saying, man, send more people in. You think, there's a church on every block. Why do you need that? Well, because there's a church on every block doesn't mean there's a minister for every person. What it means is there's a church on every block. Half those churches probably have little value to Jesus Christ anyway. Just because it says church doesn't make it right. You want people that believe that the Bible is the word of God and that are communicating that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, the life, and no man comes to the Father but through him. You need that. And so we want people that are Bible-based. We want them hungry for the kingdom, and we want to be praying for them and want to give them an open door for that. We think that's an important part of all of our lives. And so we really want to encourage that, and he'll be hanging out with us tomorrow. And he's not done a radio interview. I don't know that he's done a radio interview before. And so if it doesn't go perfect, too bad. Let's watch and learn together. One day, Johnny could be speaking before 100,000 people, and you'll be one of the people that helped him, encourage him to get in front. One day, he might speak to one person, and that person might make a decision for Jesus Christ, and you can be a part of him getting to that place to do that. I think stuff like that's cool. I'm one of those guys that thinks that the kingdom stuff is cool. Not just for me. Oh, I love it for me. I love kingdom stuff. I love anything God is doing, I want to be a part of. If God is the one who's actually doing it, I want to see it. I want to be connected to it. It's not just about me or my denomination or my group or my whatever. It's about God's kingdom, right? It's about his body. It's about his glory. There won't be any superstars in heaven except for Jesus Christ, right? So we want to all get in this together, and we want to help our brothers and sisters in every capacity that we can. So we'll do our best to do that. I think that's cool. I'm for it. All right. So I'm reading in my devotions, and something comes up. I spoke about this on YouTube. I was really nice on YouTube because my wife told me I wasn't nice the other day. Remember, I said, I'm sorry. I got to be nicer, less sarcasm. So this video I put up doesn't have any sarcasm. So I'm reading, and this passage is a challenge because this is not going to be easy for people to hear. But you need to hear it. I need to hear it. We need to hear it. All right. This is Jesus. Now, remember, in the world culture. Now, notice what I just said. In the world culture, the way they think of Jesus is Jesus came and he was a hippie and he was smoking pot and he came with a tie-dye t-shirt and sandals and he was just like going, peace, man, peace, everybody, peace. No, okay. That's a good one. So I just want to make sure that you understand that that was not the Jesus that's in the Bible. And for those that try and take the Luke passage when Jesus is born and they say, well, look, it says peace on earth, goodwill to all men. It sure does in the King James. Every other translation says goodwill, peace on earth, goodwill to all men on whom God's favor rests, which means the ones that God has chosen, the one that God has connected to. It's not about being peace amongst ourselves. That's got nothing to do with it. And if you think that's incorrect, I'll just read you this. You asked for it. Matthew 10:32. In context all the way through, whoever acknowledges me before men, I will acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. Whoever disowns me before men, I will disown him before my Father in heaven. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace on the earth. What? What did you say, Jesus? Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace on the earth. But Christianity is all about peace amongst men. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace on the earth. You don't hear that quoted very often, do you? I did not come to bring peace but a sword, for I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be members of his own household. Right in context. Anyone who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves his son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And anyone who does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. And whoever finds his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Boy, Jesus just destroyed about 9 false principles that people operate by. He wasn't trying to say, I've come to be a warmonger. He was talking about in connection to your devotion and love and relationship to him. In comparison, and in another text, he even uses the word hate. In comparison, there is nothing on the scale that should be there when you're talking about the love that you have for Jesus. No mother, no father, no son, no daughter. Here's one you're not going to like. If you love your daughter or your son more than you love Jesus, he's not interested. Wow. How can you say that? I didn't. All my material is at least 2,000 years old. I didn't say a thing. All I did was read what he said. Well, now, how do we know he said it? I don't know. He created the universe. Do you think he can write a book? Okay. That's going to be our forever argument, just so you can know. And what he's saying is, look, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be tensions. There's going to be problems because people are going to choose me, and that's going to create problems. I know this personally in my own family. One of the things that Wade and I got to just share about at the very end of our conversation. You can't love your mom, your dad, your husband, your children, and yourself more than you love Jesus. If you do, you're not worthy of Jesus. Wow. And then Jesus is the ultimate thing, which ruins all self-fulfillment programs in the world, right? He says, whoever finds his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. You want to find yourself? Die to yourself. Jesus' program is not, I'm going to give you personal fulfillment. Follow my program. Jesus is die daily at the cross, and then you're going to find out who you really are. Because you can't find out who you are apart from your creator. Sorry. You can search all you want, but all the answers are in him. And it's like, gosh, that's really hard. Yeah. And I don't think that the Lord says that and thinks, do it perfectly or I'll stab you in the eye. It's like, I think you go before the Lord and go, wow, I need help. Step by step. Bible says glory by glory, we're transformed into the image of Christ. Right? It's not perfect all at once. Oh, I'd be in trouble. That's exactly right. So the idea here is to understand it's a process. Got it? All right, we're going to take a short break, come back, but we're also going to look at a Snapchat or a snapshot of Jesus. You're listening to the David Spoon Experience right here on KAAM 770, the Christian station here in Texas. We'll be right back.
For all the blessing that you give me.
Wow, look at that hill!
Wow, look at my neighbor's car.
Wow, look at your roof!
Uh-oh. It's time to call John.
John? Who is John? The apostle?
No, silly. He's our brother in the Lord. John from the Blessed Roofing Company.
You know the name of your roofer?
Not just his name, but his number, too.
What?
469 Blessed. That's 469 Blessed. Because the answer to my roofing problems is in their number and in the company name. The Blessed Roofing Company. Get it?
All right, let me get this straight. You know the name of your roofer, his phone number, and his company name off the top of your head?
And his website, theblessedroofingcompany.com. A roof over my head needs to be blessed, and his name and number and website are blessed too. In most cases, you can get a new roof with zero money out of pocket.
Well, now I know where I'm going for all my roofing needs. Whether it's a new roof, roof repairs, or free inspections, I'll call John at 469-BLESSED or go to theblessedroofingcompany.com.
With the Blessed Roofing Company, you've got it covered because reliability starts at the top.
Are you sitting there at home on your computer? Or maybe driving along in your car just listening to the radio? Is that app for this station working for you? Don't you wish you could reach people for your business? Introducing the Commercial Whammy. All you need to do is call KAAM at 972-445-1700 and ask for David Spoon. Or send him an email at davidspoonmedia@gmail.com. And bam! You've got your own commercial whammy.
There's no need to fear. Lord, come here.
When Josh and Ash are feeling bummed, plus all their friends are being dumb, that's when they need some joy and fun, which they can get from their amazing son, Carter Bear. Carter Bear, Carter Bear, Carter Bear. When things seem to be going wacky, he's the spoon that makes them happy. Carter Bear, Carter Bear, Carter Bear.
The David Spoon Experience.
Oh, welcome back to the David Spoon Experience. Thank you for joining us here at KAAM 770, the Christian station here in Texas. A couple things to let you know. We are streaming on YouTube. I have no idea why we're doing it. We're just doing it. The other thing, if you want to, you're welcome to reach the studio 972-445-0770. You heard that contest, new commercial on the contest. We are actually going to be doing a contest, a giveaway. Yeah, for realsies, and it's got money in it. Woo! That's coming up. Yep. Got once we get our to our fourth official sponsor, then we do our contest. You're thinking, what's that contest for? It's usually a gift card, somewhere between $50 and $100, and it is open season. It's on a little Visa thing, prepaid Visa, and you just get to spend it. Ooh. All right. Yeah, so if you want to reach us, so you got YouTube, Facebook, email, phone call. I don't know what else we do. I don't even know what else we do. I did want to check in with Wonder Julie, make sure she's doing good. She's the only person I know in the entire universe has to get up at 3 a.m. Anyway, how you doing today? Okay. You getting used to the show? Because we're almost at 20 shows already, where this is 19. It does change a lot, doesn't it? I would explain the multiple engineers I went through the years, but no. So they were all trying to get in. Sure they were. Anyhow, so I did want to say something about that Carter Bear little piece that you folks heard. So Carter Bear Spoon is not my first grandchild, but my first grandson with my name, right? And so it behooves my son, because I recorded that song for him to make sure that he raises him up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Or as I did when I was younger, I will remove him from this planet and replace him with one that looks just like him. See, that was my threat all along. I would raise my kids. You're thinking, well, that doesn't seem very nice. Oh, please. So your kid would do something and I'd say, change this, or I'm going to remove you from this earth and replace you with one that looks just like you. Not only is it funny, but it worked for years. Till he got older. And he figured out, wait, you can't do that. That doesn't mean I wasn't going to think it through and try, but no. All right, I want to talk about a snapshot of Jesus, and the reason I don't know between that, Snapchat, and Snapfooey is I just don't know. So all I can do is give you what I got, and this portion has come back to me 2 or 3 times in the last week. And whenever that happens, it makes me think, yeah, I should probably share this. This could be for one person. Or it could be for 1,000 people. I don't know. But what we do is the best we can to follow and to respond. And I want you to just see this picture of Jesus. This comes actually out of Mark chapter 5. I'm going to do verse 21. Now, there's a lot of scripture, but I'm going to break it up. Otherwise, it'd be like being in college at a class or something. So Mark chapter 5, verse 21. When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue leaders, named Jairus, came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her, so that she will be healed and live." So Jesus went with him, and a large crowd followed and pressed around him. And a woman who was there, who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. All right. Stop right there. First and foremost, people go, well, in the other gospel, it gives a different account. Right. Exactly how it is supposed to be. For anybody who understands and reads the Gospels, when you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you are reading their writing of their encounter or their experience or their whatever with Jesus. And you will notice that they are not exactly the same for a reason, because God wasn't eliminating personality when he was having his book written. He was utilizing partnership between the person and the Holy Spirit to write what was written. What's most amazing is that they got any of the details similar, let alone all the details Correct. And in this case, you find out that this woman has been at issue of 12 years. We're going to talk about the synagogue leader in a second. Here's what the other thing you're going to find out. Kind of one of those unspoken things. The child who was sick, the synagogue leader's child, she also was 12 years old. So it's like, ooh, wait a second. Is there any connectabilities? I don't know, but it sure makes you think, wow, that's kind of an interesting element. The first thing we have is a synagogue ruler who comes to Jesus on his knees. I don't care how powerful you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care if you are in charge of the Congress and love plastic in your face. I don't care if you're the president and love to tweet. I could care less. If you have a child that's sick and it's beyond your control, it will bring you to your knees, won't it? If you have somebody in your life that is sick and you do not have the solution, it will bring you to your knees. You know, it's amazing, but man has consistently tried to sustain himself. And just so you can understand, life and immortality are brought to light through Christ, not through all these other things. But that's where the notion of the fountain of youth came from, so people could live forever. Because in Ecclesiastes, it talks about the reality that God has put eternity in our hearts, but also as people that we are unable to achieve that independently. And then you have the quote-unquote masters of the universe. That's not a cartoon. That's people that run Facebook and Google and all these other things. And they think, well, we're going to put people in robotic bodies and we're going to live forever. Same thing. It's just the same garbage all over again. You'll do time and time and to no repeat here. It's very simple. Man trying to live forever apart from God going to fail. Period. So this synagogue ruler, he knows there's no cure. My daughter's going down. I am on my knees. I need help. So in verse 23 and 24, he does something that is so novel. I just want you to hear it. It's so novel. Ready? He asks Jesus to enter the situation. There's a thought. Are you in a situation that you're not sure what to do? Wait, here's a thought. Maybe you could ask Jesus to help. I don't know. Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like this guy probably had a good idea right then and there. Now, as Jesus is responding, and Jesus did respond. He was going to go, and we find out he does bring that healing to that child. He's going to go. He's going to respond. But in this process, this woman, she is suffering, and she is like, man, I'm hoping that I can touch Jesus, because if I can touch Jesus, then guess what? I will find healing. And what I find amazing, the verse 27, when she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd, touched his cloak, because she thought, if I touch his clothes, I'll be healed. And immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt it in her body, and she was freed from her suffering. And once Jesus realized power had gone out from him, and he turned to the crowd and said, who touched my clothes? But what I love is that this woman who spent all her money and nothing got any better and it was all getting worse found a place of hope in Jesus Christ. If I can just touch Jesus, even with all the professional help that went, all the professional help went down. She spent all she had, didn't do a thing for her. You might have done everything that you can do, come up with every possible solution in your situation, covered it from every angle, looked at it left and looked at it right, and you're thinking, I can do this, I can do this. And then by the time you're all said and done, none of it's any better. You know what the answer is? Jesus. Because he brings hope. And when you have contact with God, it changes everything. Listen to this. This is so cool. Jesus realized power had gone out from him, turned around to the crowd and asked, who touched me? You see the people crowding against you, his disciple says, and yet you can ask, who touched me? Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened, came and fell at his feet, trembling with fear, and told him the whole truth. He said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering. Guess what Jesus did? Oh, my goodness. This lady touches Jesus. She gets healed. She'd been sick for 12 years with a blood disease. Guess what that meant? No social life. She was a social outcast. She had to wear a certain set of clothing. She was unclean, like a leper. So not only does she get physical healing, but Jesus brings about social healing so she can engage with the public again. Wait, I'm not done. Then Jesus calls her in front of the crowd. That was part of that healing socially. Oh, you are completely acceptable and healed now, young lady. You're all good. Well, young lady, old lady, I really shouldn't say that. But she was socially healed. Jesus is helping her. She was an outcast. Now she's not an outcast anymore. He has her stand up in front of the crowd. And just imagine, on top of the physical healing and the social healing, the psychological healing that woman felt. Just think about that. It was a mess. She touched Jesus. She gets physically healed. She gets socially healed. And what takes place in her mind? Jesus psychologically, she walked away. I'm healed. Ta-da! Done. What she couldn't do with money and all the professionals, Jesus did for her in a moment. How do you not get that picture of Jesus? Is that so cool? But that's Jesus. That's the picture of Jesus. I know you get sometimes the church and it's like that the teacher on Peanuts. You ever see that? It's like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna cry. It's like when you turn to your wife like I used to and write on a piece of paper, where do you want to go for lunch? Is that a Scooby-Doo number or not? Okay. I'm just checking. So we get this awesome picture of Jesus. I got a break here. So we awesome picture of Jesus healing psychologically, socially, and physically. We come back, we'll look at the rest of this. You're listening to the David Spoon Experience right here on KAAM 770, the Christian station here in Texas. Don't go anywhere.
Are you sitting there at home on your computer? Are you driving along in your car just listening to the radio? Is that app for this station working for you? Don't you wish you could reach people for your business? Introducing the commercial whammy. It slices, it dices, it cleans up dirty spots, lickety-split, and makes julienne fries. And right now, for a tremendous discount, you can have a commercial whammy too. All you need to do is call KAAM or send an email to davidspoonmedia@gmail.com and bam! You have your own commercial whammy before you know it. Call now and you can get a second commercial whammy for half the price. That's right. Call now for your very own commercial whammy. 972-445-1700 or email davidspoonmedia@gmail.com. Don't delay. Call today. Operators are standing by.
I pushed the table. I can move. Thank you.
Where does that kind of concept of heaven come from? Well, is he standing or is he sitting? I'm going to go with he's doing both. He's standing on this one. He's sitting on this one. Over there, he could be doing a Scooby-Doo act. I don't know what he's doing. All I know is that heaven is not about frozen people that don't move. And if we don't get a better handle on what heaven is, we're going to lose our communication of our hope to a hope that's based on 72 virgins, which guarantees you after 73 times it's not the fun it was the 72 times. It's so ridiculous. And that's the hope we're not winning on? You have got to be kidding me.
The David Spoon Experience.
Like any person searching for answers, I too have wondered about him. He has a weird sense of humor. If people are seeking wisdom and insight from the great teachers around the world, would they go to David? No, I don't think so. Those big ears really don't help. Will people enjoy his perspective on culture, politics, food, sports, and local and national news? I don't know. He's just a client. Tune in to the David Spoon Experience weekdays at 2 on KAAM.
You may be from a Baptist background, a Pentecostal background, a non-denominational background. David Spoon had that too. But if you're looking for a show that's Bible-based, Spirit-led, and a bit tough, then give David a listen for a while. If you like it, great. If not, no worries. The David Spoon Experience.
Welcome back to the David Spoon Experience. Thank you for joining us here at KAAM 770, the Christian station right here in Texas. This show goes by fast, doesn't it? It's like boom, 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 boom. Let's see, 72, what is it? 972. Oh, see, I finally messed up a number. 97, not the call letters, just a number. 972-445-0770. Just want to see if anybody knows this. Now, you got to know this off the top of your head, okay? You got to know this off the top of your head. Just curious if you know it. Here's what this person said. It's impossible to account for the creation of the universe without the agency of a supreme being. Ooh. Love it. Impossible to account for the creation of the universe without the agency of a supreme being. Let you think about that. David Spoon Media on Facebook, David Spoon Media on YouTube. I do not just the show, which is live YouTube, but it's also, we do these short videos. Today's video was really good, I think, really important. I even moved it to the front of my website, davidspoon.com. I thought that was good. I think it's worthwhile. Also, davidspoonmedia@gmail.com. And I even said to my wife, I don't like all this David Spoon stuff. She's, you know what she told me? Tough. Okay. Okay. See, that's how quick we solve our issues. See? Remind me tomorrow to tell you the joke on why our marriage is so successful. I promise you will appreciate it. So we're talking about a snapshot of Jesus, or a Snapchat of Jesus. I don't even know what Snapchat is. It's a picture of Jesus, folks. It's in the scripture. Okay? And we're talking about Jesus, and he's dealing in a situation where he's going to Jairus' house, and going to Jairus' house, on the way he meets this woman, and this woman has an issue. She actually meets him, and she has an issue of blood, and he brings healing into her life, physical, social, and psychological healing. Very powerful stuff. Very, very, very. But that's not the end of the story, because I want you to get this other picture of Jesus. I really happen to like this. So she's healed, right? Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering, okay? Now, she had faith, but she didn't do the healing. Jesus did. So nobody get too excited about being a healer, okay? Because Jesus is the healer. Verse 35, while Jesus was still speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader, and said, your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore? And overhearing what they said, Jesus told them, don't be afraid, just believe. And it's important to understand when they said, your daughter is dead, why bother the teacher anymore, that these people weren't looking out for Jesus, okay? They're like, your daughter is dead. Leave Jesus alone. That's not. Okay, missing, okay? So your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher? That's disparity. What's the point? No point in talking to anybody now. She's done. She's gone. She's dead. So that situation for them, that went from bad to worse, right? His situation went from my daughter's really sick to my daughter's dead. This, just so you can know, tells you the level of severity of the situation. So as severe as your situation is, whatever that is, I'm telling you, in this story, this guy's daughter was really sick. By the time Jesus is en route, remember, no transporters yet, no cars, no anything. By the time he's en route, she dies. That goes from bad to worse. Actually, it goes from worse to the worst, because that would be the worst. Look at what Jesus says in verse 36. The audacity of Jesus Christ, right? Overhearing what they said, Jesus told them, don't be afraid, just believe. You just want somebody to turn to Jesus and say, okay, she died. She's dead. This is done. But Jesus does the most amazing turnabout in a situation like this. He says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Why? Because when fear enters into the situation, it immobilizes you. Fear brings you to nothing. Then he jumps him to the other side of the roof. Good analogy, I suppose. Don't be afraid. Don't be immobilized. Believe. And by believing, he's saying, take a stand of faith. Like, how radical is this? First of all, what does that guy have to lose? His daughter's dead. Right? And Jesus is like, don't be afraid. I know what you've heard, but it's not over. I'm telling you, it's not over. Let's go into the wind down. Verse 37, he did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing loudly. He went in and said to them, why all this commotion and why all this wailing? The child's not dead but asleep. But they laughed at him, mockingly, by the way. They laughed at him. And he put them all out. He took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him and went in where the child was. He looked at her, he took her by the hand and said, Talitha cum, which means, little girl, I say to you, get up. Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. And at this, they were completely astonished, and he gave strict orders not to let anyone know this and told them to give her something to eat. If Jesus was a glory hound, he wouldn't have said the last thing that he said, but look at what happened. In verse 37, Jesus does something that you and I need to do. I'm going to say something you're just going to absolutely go, oh, I cannot believe he said it. In verse 37 through 42, it is absolutely clear that Jesus cleared the air. There were all those people in there making a commotion. They were all wailing. They were crying. Jesus says, she's not dead. She's asleep. They mocked him. He put every one of them out. Get out. Get out. Everybody out. And some of us in our lives allow the atmosphere to get so toxic and so polluted, you got to clear the air. I was talking again to somebody today. I think it was Wade. And we were talking about sometimes, if you want to get some news into your system, that's fine. So much time in the news. But if you overdose on news, it's your own fault. You're allowing that stuff in your own life, and you're creating that tension that you feel. Sometimes you have to clear the air. You got to right the atmosphere. You got to make it right. If you got to stop everything and put on worship music, do it. Because what really happens is that toxic air kills faith, kills hope, kills the ability to endure, and we've got to be the ones to stop feeding it. Jesus cleared the air. And then when they said, this girl, when Jesus said, she's not dead, she's sleeping, it wasn't that Jesus was denying that she had passed from the human point of view, but in the ability of God, she was no farther away from getting up, because God can take any death-appearing situation and bring life. And when he said that, that was a very bold confession. When he said, the child's not dead but asleep, that's like going, you're all wrong. This child's alive. And they mocked him because they knew the child was dead. But to God, the child was not dead. You get that? And then the 12-year-old girl, he says, get up. And what's the result of Jesus in the picture? Miraculous working in the life of the synagogue leader in that family. They were astonished. Jesus cleared the air, made the proclamation, extended his grace and mercy, and that child rose. Your situation's not dead, because we're talking about God. And when God enters a situation, it's never the same. And you think, well, what if the Lord allowed it? Well, maybe the Lord allowed it so that you would call upon his name and ask him to take charge of it. God knows everything, but we don't take everything and submit it to him. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should have an attitude that says, hey, this is beyond me. I think I'll bring this to the Lord. Maybe I'll just bring this to God and let him handle it. That's a snapshot, though, of Jesus. Just this little bit, just seeing how he dealt with these two people. What was the end result? Physical healing, psychological healing, social healing, unbelievable, miraculous execution of the will of God, all because he wouldn't let the toxic atmosphere destroy everything that was going around him. Man, do we need to learn. Hey, when you get in your car, if you sit there and you just listen to grunge music and you're driving, and it's all grunge and you start getting all mad, maybe you should change the atmosphere. Call me crazy. Call me nuts. Maybe a little less yuck and a little more yay makes a huge difference for all of us. That's a snapshot of Jesus. Just think, what he showed there, he wants to do for you too. Yes? You got that? All right. You've been listening to the David Spoon Experience right here at KAAM 770, the Christian station here in Texas. Going to take a 23-hour break, then come back. More insanity with Spoonanity. Talk to you then.